2 on the left hand side, 1 on the right hand side. And as I walk, the first room I look in there, it was just like cheese and dates and open food and a prayer cloth on the ground. I walk a little further, and right back there, I see a guy laying in the bed like this, as if he been cut open, like, and I say, there's a man, and he cut open. I say, like the zombie movie. She say, oh, his guts are out. She called him entrails. She say, his entrails are out. I say, yes, ma'am. And she say, do he have any discerning tattoos on him? Now, people, I'm finna just be G with you. Do he have any discerning tattoos? I say, yes. She say, tell me what tattoo you see. I say, I see a top hat. I say, I see a top hat on his like hand, the back of his hand. I say, I see an American flag on his arm. I say, and they say he's dead. I say, yes. I say he looked like the Walking Dead got to him. And she was like, okay. She say, I'm sorry that you had to see that. You're good for it. And again, now I'm getting ready to cry again, because I see some shit. My brain saying, be scared. You're a child. You never seen the body. But she is soothing me, telling me I'm brave, so I'm proud to do it for her. She say, okay, we know he's there. Let's go into the other room. So I turn to the left. I go into the other room. Sure enough, I see one of the biggest damn rebel people that they saw. I'm gonna put this in context, y'all. Y'all follow me. Y'all could Google this shit. So I turn and walk out of that room. I go into the room across. A room across, I see one of the most high-ranking officials that was opposition to America in that fucking third room. He's sitting up there looking out the window. Keep in mind, everybody can't move. Everybody is freeze frame. He's looking out the window like this, as if in my mind I'm rationalizing blinds, but they didn't have blinds. Maybe he pulled it over. So he's looking out that window. And when I see when I see him looking out the window, I say, this guy here, he has on this thing around his neck, but he has like a sash going sideways. I say, it's red with gold honeycomb shapes on it with words around the waist. And she say, okay, how tall is he? I say, he's about 5'7". I say, he ain't big as my daddy. So I say, my daddy probably like 300 pounds. And I'm a kid. I don't know. My daddy was a buff dude in my mind. But she say, slim him down a little bit for me. I don't think he's 300 pounds. And she talking so sweet. I say, well, he kind of looked like my brother, just shorter, and but he got five muscles toned. And she say, what color is his hair? I say, black. I say, there's a streak right here in his hair, kind of like starting back an inch. She say, oh my God, you are so amazing. And she say, you are just the cutest little kid. You are just the most beautiful little soul. And I'm like, yeah. She say, she said, can you see a set of stairs? I said, yes, ma'am. She said, go up the stairs with me. And I walk up the stairs with her. And I'm holding her hand. The stairs are very narrow. So now that in my adult brain, when I think about this shit, we both couldn't be side by side, but I had the illusion of holding her hand. She guided me, y'all. When I walk upstairs, I see all the artillery and the guns. I see the artillery, I see the guns, I see the bombs, the explosives. I say, up top, they got a bunch of weapons. I say, this is like commando, like army stuff. I say, this is army stuff. And I said, we don't play with guns. She said, yes, don't touch nothing. She said, okay, I'm going to walk you back down. She said, you can jump out the window and you could get out like that, or you can go down the stairs. I say, will I die if I jump out the window? She said, possibly. But if you're brave enough, you won't. So I said, well, I'm going to go out the window, because I didn't want to go see the dead body again, y'all. And so when I jumped out the window, I remember landing on something. The dirt was so soft. When I landed on the dirt, it became reality, as if somebody was to throw a stone in the dirt in real life, and you see little, that's how it came. And it sounded just like that when I jumped out the window and hit. So she said, come on back to the tanks. Come on back to the tanks. Come on back to where you started from. So again, the tanks are looking real small. So I'm thinking I'm going to have 100 years walk. But as I started walking, the tank got close. I'm right there. So she said, okay, we got you where you want. She said, could you do me a favor? I said, yes, ma'am. She said, I'm finna let your hand go. I'm finna leave you now. I said, no. I said, no, they gonna get me. And I started crying again. I said, they gonna get me. I said, save me, please. I said, I did what you wanted. She said, ain't nobody gonna hurt you. She said, when you wake up, I will be there. I said, yes, ma'am. I said, I'm asleep. She said, yeah, this is a dream. I said, oh, okay, it's a dream. So I'm crying right now, y'all. Y'all can't see it, but I'm really fucked up. So I wake up, and when I wake up, my eyes open, and I'm in pitch black darkness. I can still feel the cold thing on my cheek. My nose is still up, and the fan is blowing up in my nose really heavy. And I'm like, oh, God. I say, I'm still trapped, and now I'm thinking I'm in hell. I said, oh, God, I'm in hell. I say, I'm dead. And then I heard the guy say, now the guy is being real nice. He like, you're not dead, son. You're not dead, son. So my face, he take the thing out of my face. He take the bag and he hands me a red popsicle. The popsicle flavor, I can't tell you to this day. It wasn't cherry. It wasn't strawberry. I don't know what this red flavor in this cold ass popsicle they gave. And they say, eat this. You're dehydrated. So I'm crunching them and I'm looking around and they say, good guy, good guy. So now I go home and we're watching the news. My daddy is a war veteran. I go home and I'm watching the news. Tell me why I see on the news that had shot down that exact same house I saw on the news in real time. It happened that morning, 1991, 1990, 1990, in the year 1990, leading up to 1991. It happened in real fucking time. They destroyed that house. That tank that I touched and saw, that was an American tank pointed at the place. You see it on the news. Boom, boom, boom. So-and-so, Ahmadinejad, if I can remember the name, Ahmadinejad was a leader of something that was taken out. And I said, oh my God. And I said, again, I knew better to tell my mom what happened. So I said, I'm not going to tell my mom. I told my auntie. She said, cause she sat down and me and her watched Roots that night. Cause she was always comforting too. God rest her soul. She was killed in a drive-by on her son's birthday and buried on my birthday. This is all happened in August the same year, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 91, 90, 91, 90. So I told her, and she was like, it's gonna be okay. And she was just hugging on me and she was kissing on me. And she was like, it's gonna be okay. My auntie went out drinking and partying. So yeah, August 13th, that's when she was shot. She went out under the tree and drank. And when she went out under the tree and drank, she was somebody driving an AK-47 shot her. Bam! It went in the back and it came out the front, blew a hole in her chest big as God, and she dies on the scene. We lost our fucking cool. Now, not only am I being tortured at school, not only am I in this GATE program shit that got me remote viewing, and I don't even know what the fuck that is at this time. My auntie passes away. She get killed on her son's birthday. 7 days later, my birthday come around. She gets buried on my birthday. Nobody talked to me. Nobody said happy birthday. Nobody said shit. I was wearing green pants and a green and white striped shirt with some brown, with them brown wicker shoes that all the pimps used to wear back in the day. Them you get them from, you used to get them from Looking Good Men's Store on Colonial in Orlando. They slid. You slide in them bitches, right? Nobody said happy birthday to me. That was the 1 year nobody acknowledged I existed. I was a phantom and a ghost. So I grew up believing nobody loved me, that I even felt like I wasn't real for a time or two. I was like, I'm not real. So now I'm going back to school. I'm acting out. I'm being a b-boy. I'm trying to be all hard and shit. And I'm angry at the world. When I get to school, all the principals and the teachers are looking at me crazy. They said they had this shit called in-school suspension at the time. So here go another thing. And I'm telling y'all some names, man. Look this shit up, bro. I ain't scared no more, because I know I got a bigger purpose going on. So this shit is coming back. So they were doing this shit called in-school suspension. And when they did in-school suspension, you're supposed to be doing that shit in one of the classrooms at school, cafeteria or something. They shipped me off to this school called Blankner Elementary. I'm in middle school. They shipped me to Blankner Elementary off Silver Star Road, in Silver Star Road, where it turns into something like Edgewater in that area there. I'm giving y'all names. It was a school called Blankner. And although I'm like 12, 13 years old, it was a school for mentally ill kids. So I'm at Blankner Elementary, and while I'm there, they gave me this very, very big tricycle to ride. They fed me lunch and they let me go outside for like 2-3 weeks, because I had to be in that school in school suspension for 2-3 weeks, like isolated from everybody. And only thing I had to do is ride this giant tricycle, red with a white seat, but it wasn't a baby one. It was made for like big kids like me. And we was riding around on the thing. And I met this boy named Reggie. Black kid, dark skinned black kid, glasses thick as all out those. And he was sitting up there and he was like goofy, but I didn't think he was a kid. You feeling me? Because now that I'm thinking back, this wasn't a playground for children. This was, everything was supersized for grown-ups or teens. So I met this kid named Reggie. He had glasses like a grown man, and he operated like a grown man. And he was riding a tricycle with me. And he taught me how to like ride a tricycle, and we became friends for 3 weeks. Why was I at Blankner Elementary School for 3 fucking weeks? And the same kid would come with the same blue fucking jacket on. It's hot. It's August. He had on the same blue little parachute jacket with a little pocket right here on the side, because I remember he used to put his lollipop in there and he put two. He would give me one, and he would keep one for himself. So I'm riding around on these giant tricycles and shit, and he's talking to me. And so we go get on this thing that looked like a rocket. When I get on this thing that looked like a rocket, he says, "You ever think about going into outer space?"